Simpsons Treehouse of Horror has been a must-see part of Halloween entertainment for over 3 decades now. In the very first of these, we're introduced to Kang and Kodos in the iconic episode Hungry Are the Damned, and they've appeared in every Treehouse episode ever since, although sometimes only for just a few seconds. Did you know that the design for Kang and Kodos was inspired by cover art of a comic book from the 1950s? Simpsons writers claim that they basically lifted the design straight from an EC cover. Although it's not totally certain which comic they're referring to, most seem to think it's this one from the March 1951 edition. You can see that these green multi-tentacled aliens definitely share a lot of characteristics with the Simpsons alien invaders, but others have pointed out that just a year or so later, in issue 16, we see another alien with a very familiar massive glass helmet. So it's just possible that we can thank both of these comics for two of the best Simpsons Halloween characters ever. Stay tuned for more.
Hey gang, it's me, Jeff.
Hey, and Zarek.
So this week we're going to be looking at the Treehouse of Horrors, Simpsons, as opposed to all the other Treehouse of Horrors. I have not seen every single Treehouse of Horrors, and it was everything in me to just limit it just going through, and I think I barely made it to season 13. So I have a list series.
I honestly believe that the best Treehouse of Horror stories were front-loaded. Probably through season 9 or season 10. I have watched just about every single Treehouse of Horror, and I will say that there was a long period where I got a couple chuckles out of it, but they've kind of gotten renewed life lately. But I don't think I have any. I know for a fact I don't have any of the newer ones on my top 10 list. This could turn into an argument. Or this subject might turn into an argument. We might get emotional because this is as Jeff just said, it's hard to just limit. And I felt like I had to say goodbye to some of my babies when I was listing the 10 I wanted, because there are some really good ones that aren't on my list that I wish I could have fit on there, but we had to limit the discussion somehow.
All right, so now I'm throwing a curveball at you. We're gonna have a point system this time.
Oh, fantastic.
For every one that you get that I don't have, you get a point. And for every one that I get that you don't have, I get a point. Now, you could say, well, if we have the same 7, then, regardless, it's not going to be any different. There's going to be the same points on both sides. But you can negate the other guy's point if you can come up with a very close facsimile of a quote from the other person's story, the other person's treehouse.
Challenge accepted.
All right. I think I've let out pretty much all the other times because I had more stuff because I came more prepared than you. So I'll let you start off this time.
All right. So Jeff might not be listing them in descending order. I have mine sort of in descending order. I will say that my number 1 is, I think, my number 1 all-time favorite. And I'm going to start with a relative number 10. If you were to ask me again tomorrow, I might have these all shuffled up, except for my number 1. So I want to start with Citizen Kang. Citizen Kang, when the two, when Kodos and Kang were running for office, and they kidnapped Bob Dole and Bill Clinton and impersonated them. I thought that that is hysterical. By the way, if we didn't say this at the beginning, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen these, then you probably don't need to be watching this. But Kodos and Kang were awesome in this episode, and they've got some of the classic lines. I love how they were able to earth with just a slingshot. So yeah, that's my starting shot.
Okay. I did not have that one, but one of my favorite lines was when one of the handlers for one of the candidates says, "Sir, it would probably be better for your image if you weren't seen holding hands in public." And he says, "If you know a better way to exchange long chain proteins, I'm willing to listen." So there's no points on that one.
That's a pretty close quote, and that was George Stephanopoulos that was supposed to be who advised Bill Clinton that he shouldn't be holding hands. But yeah. we'll let you neutralize the point. Okay, what do you got?
All right, Clown Without Pity.
Clown Without Pity. That's higher up for me. I love that one.
Oh yes. That's the episode where Homer's on his way home to the birthday party, and he stops to get a present for Bart, and he buys a cursed clown. And I know for a fact you already have any number of quotes from that one.
Oh, absolutely. And I already have it on my list, so I don't think I need to realize it. But here's your problem right here. Someone set this to evil. All right, so you had Clown Without Pity. My next one is Terror at 5.5 feet.
Yeah, I included that one too, just because the conversation, it was either last week or the week before, when you were talking about the hokey Twilight Zone actual gremlin.
Right. Oh, I love that one. I love when what do you call it?
Otto,
the bus driver. Yeah. Everybody's looking outside of the side of the bus trying to see the gremlin driving or seeing the gremlin, and Otto comes over, and it's like you see all these kids. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. And you see Otto in the back of the bus going, I don't see anything. Like, hey, who's driving the bus? Ooh, un momento, por favor. And runs back up to the front of the bus.
I like the same one where Bart says, Otto, there's a gremlin on the side of the bus.
Right.
No problem, little dude. Wham! And he hits Hans Moleman and his gremlin and runs him off the road. All right. So so Clown Without Pity was Treehouse of Horror 3. It was season 4. It was October 31, 1991 is when it aired. And I picked all three stories from that one, which was The Clown Without Pity, and the next one is King Homer.
King Homer. The only reason why I don't have King Homer on my list is because I copied and pasted my list and it dropped off and I forgot to put it back in. So I put something else there because I couldn't remember what I had in there. But King Homer. Okay, I don't have it on my list, but I want to use the best, most, I think, daring quotes from the entire Simpsons, probably maybe of all time. I couldn't believe they got away with it. Matter of fact, if you watch some of the old DVDs and Blu-rays and the commentary, it's amazing how restrictive Fox was on some of their jokes. They wouldn't let them do a lot of things like the monkey's paw. They wanted to have, when the monkey's paw, you know how his fingers curled, they wanted the last one to leave the middle finger, and Fox would not let them do it. They said absolutely not. And they thought, well, can we sneak it in? And they're like, no, they'll shut us down or stuff like that. So Fox is really, really strict with that. But with the I can't believe in King Homer when at the beginning when Burns is talking to Marge Bouvier, and he says, well, turns to Smithers and says, what do you think? He's like, and Smithers says, I don't think women and semen mix. And Burns just says, we know what you think. And to this day, I mean, that just knocked me over. And that, to this day, I think is one of the most daring and subversive lines that the Simpsons have ever snuck in.
Yeah. But
your turn.
Dial Z for Zombie.
It's on my list. Dial Z for Zombies.
Yeah, and that's when they accidentally raised the dead when they were trying to do a pet cemetery thing with a snowball, or one of the snowballs.
Snowball 2, which one I can't remember.
This it could be. This has one of my favorite quotes in it, which is when they're trying to escape and they're running out to the car. And Flanders walks up, and I forget the exact setup, but he says something to the effect of, just wondering if I could have some of those sweet brains, neighborino, or something like that. And Homer jacks his shotgun with one hand and boom, blasts him. And I think Lisa says, Dad, you shot the zombie Flanders. Flanders was a zombie? That's just one of my favorites.
You got the punchline, but you mangled everything else. It was Flanders in the school, and he said, hey, let me nibble on your ear. And then that's when he shot him, and then because he was annoying. Yeah. Good stuff, that one.
All right. On to you.
Monkey's paw. Oh, the monkey's paw. And I know I already mentioned the monkey's paw with the finger and all that, but that's on my list. I to this day I will quote this, and people, and 99%, no, I'd say 100% of the people don't know what I'm talking about if I don't explain it. But if someone's doing something really complicated, so actually in the scene, they're in Morocco. They're in Morocco, and they see this guy doing some kind of weird body twisting, some kind of yogi or something. He's there twisting his legs around his neck and just contorting himself into all these bizarre positions. And they're just staring, watching, and Bart just suddenly says, I could do that. I don't want to. And ever since then, I will say that whenever I see anything complicated or completely beyond my ability, I'll just be like, I could do that. I just don't want to. And no one knows what I'm talking about. I think I'm just being a jerk. So I have to explain myself right away.
Time and punishment.
Oh, that's my next one too.
Yeah,
because that's got one of the most heartbreaking scenes in all of cinematic history.
It is not my favorite. It is definitely not one of my favorite, but it is one of the more memorable ones to me because, well, you've already said it. The heartbreaking scene where he comes back and Selma and Patty are dead, and they're taking the Lexus to the funeral, and he asks Marge, nice. Would you? No, the kids are well-behaved kids.
Yep.
Luxury car. Patty and Selma are dead. Marge, would you pass me a donut? What's a donut? And he runs downstairs and begins beating the toaster again, and donuts begin falling from the sky, and it's raining again.
That was one of those heartbreaking scenes and I've ever seen on television. I just felt so bad for Homer.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
That's up there as disappointing as Jurassic Park on Futurama. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, that's mine.
All right. So my next one is The Shannon.
Urge to Kill. Rising.
Don't you mean Shining? Do you want to be sued? Yeah. Hey, I've got a special trivia question for you.
All right.
What was Willie's first nationality going to be?
I've got nothing. I have no idea.
They didn't either. And the first time Willie shows up, they were table talking through it or whatever they call it. They were doing the table walk through and they came to Willie's character and they said, okay, what's this guy's? And they said, well, let's figure it out. And so I don't remember who was doing the voice, if it's Hank Azaria or not, but it was he tried it with a Swedish accent and they said, okay, what else you got? And they did Scottish and they said, that's Willie. And they went on with that. So Willie could have been Swedish.
That'd have been awful.
So we dodged the bullet with that one. Okay, but The Shannon, obviously a parody of The Shining, and just this is where we were learning early on that people were getting brutally murdered throughout the Treehouse of Horror.
All right, so next one is still 1994. Season 6, and it's Nightmare Cafeteria.
Oh, really? I don't have that one on my list. Okay, that's a good one.
Yep.
Oh, great. Now I have to work in the dark. Can I please have another sloppy Jimbo? That was a good one.
You might say that there's a little Ooter in all of it. You might even say that we chopped Ooter up and cooked him and served him for lunch. No, wait, don't say that.
Forget that last one.
Forget that last one. Yep. All right, next.
Bart Simpson's Dracula. That is like by far one of the best vampire shows. I just love it. I mean, you couldn't, the characters were made practically for that parody. I like how they snuck in a little Salem's Lot there in the middle of it by having the floating vampires outside scratching on the windows, But that was that's definitely one of my favorites. Just and how after when Homer kills vampire Burns and all of a sudden he crumbles into dust and then suddenly reappears and you're fired. one last jab before he dies. Yep, definitely.
Smithers was a great Renfield in that.
Oh yeah. I know he's kind of a ghoulish. Yeah.
Mr. Burns, you have to let go of the button when you say that. What? All right. Attack of the 50-foot eyesores.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
When there's a disturbance in the Van Allen belt, Kent Brockman's talking about it on the news.
Yeah, that the advertising agency that they went to who told them how to beat
Just don't look.
There's two bits of trivia here. One is was a real advertising agency. It had folded by then. One of the writers worked for them previously, and he's like, "Hey, let's just use this advertising agency." That was apparently a real company at one time. It had gone under. And I guess he wasn't too happy with him. The other thing is the guy who sings the "Just Don't Look" jingle at the end. I forget his name.
Paul Anka.
Yeah. what happened with him is that in the previous season, Marge had mentioned him. She was talking about someone. She says, "Who does he think he is?" And says his name. Well, that guy was so thrilled, he wrote him a letter and said, "Thanks for including me in your show." And so when they were coming up with this, they're like, "Who could we get to sing it?" They're like, "Let's see if he wants to do it." He agreed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yours.
So all right. So my number one, and is one of my all-time favorites, even though it's not the Raven. When they redo the Raven, I mean,
that is excellent.
Yep. Yeah, I mean James Earl
Jones
doing the reading, and just the way they're able to just seamlessly tell that story and have it work so well. I just love it. One of my favorite parts going through that, he's like, "Never more, never more," and then all of a sudden Homer, who is all of a sudden just breaks character, "Never more, never more. Why you little strangle the Raven?"
Yeah. Quote the Raven, "Eat my shorts."
Yeah. Bart. Yeah. So one of the originals, and I think it's the third story in the very in the very first Treehouse of Horror. So classic.
Yeah. All right. So the last one on my list is Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that's when Willie is Freddy.
Right.
And it's the 13th day of the 13th hour of the 13th day of the 13th month. Lousy sparch weather. And then the thermostat, it says, "Do not touch thermostat." No, do not touch.
Well, do not touch Willie. All says, do not touch Willie.
Sounded right. And which is actually, do not touch Willie, which is that one's kind of a double entendre too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's meant to be. That's what. Yeah.
That didn't occur to me until I was probably this many years old, sometime earlier this year. But anyways, that's it for me.
All right. Yep. All right. So obviously, like we said, there's tons of good stuff that we couldn't put on here, or just didn't have the time or the room. So if you guys have a favorite, put them in the comments. Let us know. This is a lot of fun. We love the Halloween episodes here. These are a blast. So we want to thank everyone who's been subscribing and watching these videos, and we thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your evening or morning.
Thanks so much.
Whenever you watch this thing. Have a great day.
Take it easy, gang. Bye.